Bashin Yahushai, Vashin Regagadas, Thuata Yahweh, Thuata Yahweh, Bashin Yahushai. Shalaki, my Father, for my sins as I cry. Baba Kashai, Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Barakatha, Yahweh, for the akim that you supply. Barakatha Yahweh, for the aqua that comply. Kolo Yahweh, Vashem Yahushai. Shalom, shalom. Woo! It's your brother Obadiah Yahweh Kananan, and I'm here today with a lesson, Most High, welled one up in my spirit to bring out some very nourishing fruit that we need at this particular time. And also have a oldie but a goodie. And it's going to be a very, I think it's going to be a very fruitful lesson. Hey, if you get some exhortation out of it. If you get edified, then it's up to the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua to make it so. I don't control anything of that nature. He controls it all, and that's going to be the nature and the status of the situation. I will, once I go through the commentary and I got to hit a scripture or a few scriptures, I'll be bringing the lesson online. It's a repost that I did, and it's a good one. And vexation, the vexation of our own guilt, and it's a very good lesson. And I hope that you're all very edified by it. I want to give salutations to all of the hopeful elect that are out and about. Some are working, doing things they have to do. Some are out doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai, which is of utmost importance at this particular time, because this is what we should be doing anyway, and because we can't control it, he's controlling all things. So therefore, that is very important and very imperative that we operate in that fashion and in that manner. Shalaki on some of the shadow banning that will occur and happen in reference to the lesson is just the nature of Esau Edom's technology, his AI process of distributing communication. We want to give our utmost respect and admiration to the apostles, a great millstone, who have been diligently bringing out the sacred name and bringing out the truth and accuracy for decades in and decades out, as well as the brethren, the elders, and the bishops, and all those individuals that also follow suit in that like-minded doctrine. We all are of the body of Hamashiach that are awakened, predestinated to do this work in the truth. This is who we are, what we are. We have no choice in the matter. This is something that is upon us from the time that we were created by Yahweh Shem Shai before the foundation of the world. So we definitely want to give our respect and admiration to all of those that are elected and selected to do that process. Now, the thing about talking about the vexation of our own guilt, it has roots in the fact that, now let me break this down in this way, because I know it's probably not very common, but people have a tendency of taking something that is spiritual and they end up putting icing on that cake in a carnality way. And we're all very guilty of it. I know I am. I'm guilty of it myself. I never point a finger or say anything about someone else that I don't convict myself and see the vexation in myself as doing that as well. I would never do that, because if you do that, then you're not in a good place, in a good space as far as humility is concerned. So that can become a very problematic situation for multitude of people, and especially and including myself first in naming that situation. And so I guess what I'm trying to say and understand, Shalaki, what I'm trying to say and understand is that we need to understand the vexation of our own guilt, and we need to look at that in a repentive process, because that's what it should be about. It should be about us giving praise, worship, and prayer, and wrapped in repentance, to give it to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that Yahweh Shai can send it to the Father, and the Father can see fit to give us what we would consider to be grace and mercy, in terms of what we are or are not picking up in terms of the clues. We have a very strong tendency of looking at the things that we're going through in a carnal capacity. And as we go through these things in a carnal capacity, we know that they're spiritually driven through the prophetic process the Father's bringing forward. And because we live so often and so much in the time that we're here in the flesh, so from a carnal perspective, what we're doing is we're taking something that has been made, developed, and created in the spiritual, in the spirit, and then because we spend this very short period of time in the flesh, we tend to operate, conjunctively in that fashion. This in itself becomes very problematic in many areas, in many ways, because a lot of people don't understand that everything that exists, can exist, will exist, and does exist was created in the spiritual before it was created in the physical. All right, and then so on and so forth goes back to the originality of what it was created and how it was created. And as I said, and I always will say, Yahweh, our Father, is the anchor and controls absolutely everything that happens and goes on in all of his creation, from all platforms. He covers and he's controlling all agendas. Every single one of the agendas that's going on prophetically brought out is covered by the Most High Yahweh. Any entities that are operating on this earthly plane are still completely under his control, and as they are being controlled through his son Yahweh Shai, who is the manager of the Father's will in terms of those processes, in terms of how things are taken care of and move around and forward and beyond. And we need to take real good care of understanding that, because I know that becomes a very strong stumbling block for a lot of people, including me and others. We tend to speak about Esau, Edom, and the level of activity that he has been given, because in Job chapter 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and we know that he didn't acquire it on his own. He was given this to fulfill the living prophecies that are befalling the world. And because that's what is happening with Esau, Edom, the so-called and self-proclaimed white man, because no one's white and no one's black and no one's red or any other color. So we know that those narratives just basically create division, misunderstanding, and abominable thoughts and processes. But if you are a vessel fitted for destruction, what are you going to do but destroy anything that is of any significance to what we're going through? They're either going to lay destruction towards it, because that's the purpose of how they've been and what they've been created for. So, and that in itself is the situation. But I digress. I don't want to go too far in terms of talking about that. I want to continue to talk about the fact that the vexation of our own guilt is something that we don't look at very often. In the scripture talks about, the beam in your eye as opposed to the beam in your brother or your neighbor's eye, just roughly paraphrased. Um, is it in both eyes or just one? What's the status of that situation? Humility is a very rare commodity when it comes to operating in this truth, because we know that a lot of the what I call them the offshoots or the derivative organizations that are supposedly spun off and teaching the truth from One West GMS, and then the One Wester when One West came out and the split happened, and the truth went towards and the blessings went towards Great Millstone, and then the rest of the derivatives are getting portions of the truth in terms of having some sight. Do they have eye salve? That's absolutely correct. You can't say that. Anyone that doesn't continuously promote this sacred name first and foremost, always, and continue to move in that direction, foundational truth, as I've taught many times already, then you're questionable in terms of being able to be in the truth. You can see it, but you're not in it, because if you're in it, you actually perform in the process of accuracy. And you don't deviate and just say all kinds of other things like Most High, blessed in Christ, and Jesus Christ, and use all these names that are abomination and blasphemy to the Most High and the Son. But basically that's what we're dealing with. But the vexation of our guilt is something that we're going to have to deal with. Now I'm going to go to Ezekiel chapter 20, so you're going to have to go there soon with me. And I'm going to read a good portion of the chapter, and I'm going to break down some things in that. But when we get down to around 43 in Ezekiel 20, it's going to speak to the fact that this is the time period that we're speaking of when we go back to the land. And when we're back in the land and we're under the strict order, which is decent and order, that the Most High has set up through Yahweh, and then through Yahweh Shai, and then on down through the government of Yahweh Shai and King David, the 144 and like, and all the rest. We at some point are going to have to answer for a lot of what we have said and done, because everything's being definitely recorded and definitely taken down and going to possibly be, I would think so, it's going to be addressed. You will be addressed before you're at rest. I did a lesson on that too. And so it's important to understand this is what we're going towards in terms of our regeneration, or our reincarnation, however you want to say it. But you will be addressed before you're at rest. And the things that we say and the things that we do, we will be accountable for them. And one of the things I want to say is this: if we're supposed to, and we have to, and it's a law that we are supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, we can point out what our neighbor does. And when we say our neighbor, we're talking about the Hebrew Israelites, the chosen people of the Most High. We're not talking about the other nations, the heathens and various other nations that want to try to subscribe themselves to who and what the Father has done with us in His covenant. They're not part of it, and they weren't there from the beginning, and they can't be grafted into something that they were never part of. And they don't seem to understand that. But hey, this is the spiritual blockage that they have on them at this time, that the Most High put on them. So let's just keep them in that position, because we can't do anything other than that in terms of them being there anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Now, what we're going to also think about and talk about is the fact that how does the Mashiach handle love thy neighbor as thyself? In other words, how does he show his love to the Akim, to Yasharallah, and to the Akwaf as well? And what is the example that he's given us in order to do that? If you're going to say that your ministry, your organization, your camp, and your whole platform is mirroring Yahushua HaMashiach, do the categories. Have a category of pros and cons. I guess you could use that. The process of doing things right, the process of things that aren't being done right, and then of course have Yahushua HaMashiach up at the top, and then the mirror of what you're supposed to be doing in terms of what did he do it that way. did he address the men the way we're addressing the men to date in terms of where we are in prophecy? If we're going to mirror him, are we really doing it the way he would do it? Do we go back and check and see if we're doing it that way? Do we look at it and say, I wonder if Yahweh Shai would address this person or this man or this woman in that way? Would he have done it that way? Uh, do we check that? Because a lot of what we're going to answer for in Ezekiel chapter 20, 40, 42, 43 is the things that we've done here that we're supposed to clear up as best we can by following and picking up on the clues the Father gave us from the beginning that are taking us into the arena of being purified through the Spirit of the Word that is the fire, and of course we're cleansed and purified towards our acceptance and our ability to be in the presence of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai in heaven in the new covenant. This is the end game that we are looking to acquire if we are predestined for that process. And if anyone were to ask you what's the end game, you should be able to explain what it is, not only just in interpretation, but through Scripture. And of course, Ezekiel will talk a little bit about that as well. So again, this lesson is going to be speaking in terms of that, because okay, so we know that the Father is doing everything, and if He's having Jake go way off and Jakettes go way off, and Eve, or if you want to call her, go way off and do really mad, crazy stuff. I mean, just beyond Jacob's trouble stuff that's coming up. You do have to understand the Father is in control of all this, and I don't like to use the word allow too loosely. Yes, he is allowing, but what's the methodology to the allowance of it? Because see, he's not doing it and just cutting loose this process and letting it just run its course or just go willy-nilly everywhere. That's not how the Father operates. He always operates in perfect balance and decently and in order. So if he has Eve going off and doing horrific, horrifying stuff, that's true, and same for Jake, and of course everybody in creation and every creation he's made of the nations as well. He's doing it all. The Father's doing it all. I was listening to Elder Manak Zakba, and he was basically telling you the same thing, that the Most High is got all this going, and we can't get all messed up over the fact that he's doing it this way. You have to stay focused and not get distracted. But I just want to say this much too, because this I think is kind of important. Everything we say about Eve, as jacked up as Eve may be in many ways, and I'm not making excuses for anybody, because I don't have the power or the ability or authority to do that, as far as making excuses. But she's going to be cleaned up. All Eves, all Israelite women that become and when we become the sons and daughters of Yahweh, becoming the priest and the priestettes or whatever you want to call it, once we get to the new covenant, they're going to be all cleaned up, and they're not going to do any of this stuff. They're going to be the most awesomest women that have ever existed. I know it's hard for the brethren to be able to see it and express this to them, even to each other, but our Eves are going to be better than any female creation that has ever been created once we get to the new covenant and we get into the new kingdom, because they're going to be there, because all of Israel is going to be saved. So take very careful consideration of the fact that in Ezekiel chapter 20 around 43, it talks about the fact that individuals that you have some conversation or some type of relational communication about, whether it's to them, about them, or around them, they're going to hear this. It's not going to be dismissed. Now, will they completely remember it? I don't know for sure. But it says that in a way, and they're saying that they are going to. I'm going to read it when we get to open up the scriptures. But think about that. Our Eves are going to be so awesome. As jacked up as they are now, And I mean, we're jacked up too, man. But as jacked up as they are now, they're going to be, I mean, they're going to be so awesome that you won't be able to take your mind, your eyes, your thoughts off of it. Ain't gonna be no fake stuff, no fake body parts, no broom lashes, none of that stuff, man. Everything's going to be so super awesomely uh, compatible to the way the Most High is going to redo His men. So you know she's going to be off the chart. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about what's coming for them and how great they're going to be. We don't tell them that when we see them on the highways and byways and in other areas when we actually communicate and interact with them. We don't tell them how awesome they're going to be. We don't talk about how awesome we are going to be together in terms of Aquab and Akim and Aquab. We don't talk about the regeneration and rejuvenation that's going to take place with all Israel. The children are going to be beautiful, awesome, more than we can ever imagine. It's going to be so much more than we can even fathom. And so, I just wanted to make sure I said this because that's important. We bash and we blast a lot because of course we get frustrated because we're in the flesh here and we're trying to operate in the spirit and be trained to operate in the spirit, but the flesh takes a big toll on us. And so when we see our brothers and our sisters going off and doing stuff, the Most High is doing it, but we need to also understand they're going to be cleaned up really, really well, and they're going to be so awesome, man. And however many that you have, or however many that you don't have, that is surely up to the prerogative of the Most High Himself and how that gets down. Because what we do here in this toxic world is not incorporating in the way that we do it here in the new covenant, the new kingdom. It's going to be all awesome beyond, woo, man. I just, when I think about it, and I try to focus on that when I send my praise, worship, and prayer to the Father on how awesome He's going to have us to become when everything is converted and the kingdom is set up for righteousness. But that's important to understand, and I wanted to bring that out. But let me go ahead and get into this a little bit, and then we're going to show you a little bit of this this lesson I did as well because it was a good one. Where my glasses at? Shalaki. Here we go. All right. Now we good. All right, now I want you to go to Ezekiel chapter 20. And I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to read a little bit, and then I might jump down around a little bit, but I'm going to stay here in this chapter for a minute before I cut loose on the actual repost. Okay, so just bear with me. All right. Now it starts in verse 1, and it says here, and it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahweh, the Lord, and sat before me. As this is, okay, this is what the Father is expressing, okay? Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying. Now, first of all, when the elders go and speak, they are the prophets, all right? And when they go speak for the Father and on His behalf, they're speaking for Him, from Him, through Yahweh Shai. Clearly, we should know that, okay? And then we got, Yahweh Shai, which He says in verse 3, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, or thus saith Yahweh, are ye come to inquire of me? Question. As I live, saith the Lord Yahweh of power, I will not be inquired of by you. So this is akin to the fact that if you're going and getting in a position to feel as though you're going to inquire of Yahweh, where's your humility? Your humility better be on point if you're going to inquire of Yahweh. And let me tell you why. Because inquiring of the Father, how He responds is going to have a great deal to do with what you actually end up getting yourself into. Okay, you better think about that. Okay, because here He says in 4, wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them, question, cause them to know the abominations of their fathers? Okay, all right. Now, we are continuously in the abominations of our fathers because we're in this kingdom right now that the father is controlling but puppetizing Esau, Edom, to operate in it. Okay, so clearly we're still in the abominations of our fathers because we didn't pick up the clues early on in the process of us being predestinated to do this work and tell the world who Yahweh Shem Yahushua is in truth and spirit, which we didn't do. So clearly, not picking up that clue, we are in the abomination of our fathers. 5. And saying unto them, thus saith Yahweh power, in the day when I chose Israel, he didn't choose any other nation, he said Israel, right? And lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, where I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh, your power. Okay, now he named Israel and Jacob, so all 12 tribes are included here in the process of him speaking in reference to who he chose, okay, and who he's helping only. All right, everyone else is being led astray by Ruach that he sets forth to do so. Okay, 6. In the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt into the land I had espoused for them. He espoused. In other words, he pretty much he knew that it was going to be ready, and he said, okay, I'm send my angels down. They're going to check it out, make sure things are right, because he already knew, and then he inspired it for us, right? Inspired for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all the lands. Now, milk and honey is a similitude of the fact that this is some land that is so fruitful in every aspect that it could provide. The agricultural portions of it, everything that you can think of is there. The riches, the wherewithal in terms of health, it's all there in that land of milk and honey, which was there. Even though we had entities that had to be cleaned out, that's still what it was at that point in time. All right, 7. Then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh your power. Now, how is it that their eyes are being abominable, and they have to cast every man the abomination in his eyes? When you look at something, you can't look at it as not being under the control of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai as far as what is created that you're viewing or experiencing. Let me say it again. Don't look at it as it is not under the control and that it was not created for your benefit, your favor, and for the love that the Father has for his chosen people. If you look at it in a carnal capacity and think that it's something that's there because of some level of evolving science process, no, it's not. The Father controls it. And when you do that, your eyes, so you have to cast ye away every man the abomination of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. So when you look at the creation and you start using the creation and thinking that creation that the Father made, the substance of that creation is something that created this, then you have a misleading understanding. Yahushua is the firstborn of creation, but it's not the same as what he was subscribed to do from the foundation of the world, coming directly out of the Father, and then performing the building blocks and performing the construction of all creation at that time. It's context that is important to understand the difference, okay? Just wanted to make that clear to you so you got that, okay? But, okay, 8. But they rebelled against me. They didn't pick up on the clues that were given to them, the unction to know that they're to go in the direction the Father said go and not in another direction. Against me, and would not hearken unto me. See, they did not every man cast away the abominations of his eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. And I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. Just like here in this area now, spiritual Egypt, Nineveh, and all of the other derivatives, Sodom and Gomorrah, that fall in line with the multitude of abominations in this place where we are at this time, captivity, soon to be coming out. 9. But I wrought for my name's sake. Now, when he wrought for his name's sake, in other words, he had forethought and compassion to the degree that he was going to take us through the process of cleansing and purification, but for his name's sake, okay? that it should not be polluted before the heathen. See, he didn't want that. He didn't want us to be in that capacity if we could pick up on the clues and move forward. Among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. See, he says that. See, don't look past that. He said, wherefore he called, Yahweh caused them to go forth. See, he's in control, okay, out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness and gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, in other words, which if you pick up the clues and you accomplish this in that way, all right, he shall even live in them, not die, but live in them. So you had an option to live in these before the laws became something that was toward your demise or your death. You had a choice to live in it. And that's why, when I teach a lot of times and I say stuff, I say that when we teach the sheep and we give them nourishing food, we need to teach them how to do things in the law that they can keep in captivity. I'll say that again. There are things while we're here in captivity that we can rehearse. Judges chapter 5:11, the righteous acts, which is keeping the laws we can keep while we're here in captivity, and teach them to do it. I did a lesson on the Passover and the rules and the application of some of that. And we're coming into more holy days right now, as we are, because we just came through recently just through a new moon, a Passover new moon, and then our daily Sabbaths, counting the days, not the day of the name of the day or the week, or the name of the week, but the number of the day through to 7, and then know that you're in your daily, just like we just came out of a daily Sabbath, and we're now cruising into go towards the next daily. But see, we got holy days coming up on us as well, and we need to teach those that can understand, and those that are selected, other elected, the elected who are selected, to actually perform what you can perform in respect to the Father, Yahweh B'Shem Shai, here while you're here in this captivity, to that effect. So teaching the Akim, the Akwaf, how to do specific judgments, statutes, which he said he gave us, right? And do them correctly. And he says 12, moreover, I gave them my Sabbath. See, and they need to be taught how to do that. It's not Friday sundown or Saturday sundown, unless it falls on that period of time from the new moon that moves forward, and a daily Sabbath that moves forward in a numbered fashion, not a day of the week fashion. Teach them how to operate in the Sabbath, what to do, what not to do, what you can accomplish. And of course, we know we're in we're in the given puppetized rulership of Esau Edom. Notice what I said: the given puppetized, controlled rulership of Esau Edom. We have to really be careful and just not just saying this is Esau's rule. No, this is Esau's controlled, puppetized rule by the Most High. It ain't Esau doing it by himself. We got to be real careful with our language in terms of how we say this, because people who don't study enough or know enough, they'll think that you're telling them that Esau's doing some stuff that the Most High is just let loose and let it run its course and no one's controlling it. And that's not what's happening, okay? All right, let's finish, okay? But 13, but the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments. Now, we're in a form of wilderness here amongst these people in captivity. And what's happening? We're doing abominational things, and that's what Jake's doing, because the Most High is directing him in that fashion, because prophecy's a living thing, and we're going towards the amount of Jacob's trouble that's beyond what we can imagine. So, as I've said it so many times, it's got to get so bad, so evil, so nasty, so wicked here, that even the wicked demons don't even want to be here. Now, you know when it gets that bad and the demons don't want to be here, and you're starting to see them pop up. They're destroying each other, the other demons. They're destroying themselves. This is the process of the revelation, and the exposure and disclosure of the demons don't want to be here. So they're checking themselves. They're getting out of here and going back to the spirit world and dealing what the Most High got for them when they get there. But you see, that's what's happening. So you see how wicked it's going, and we ain't even at the crust of it yet, but we're getting there. Okay, okay. In the wilderness, okay, statutes in the wilderness, and which if a man do, he shall even live in them, and my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness and consume them, in which he's doing that right now because we're in the wilderness and a lot of Jake and individuals are getting consumed because it's what the Father's doing. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen. In those sight I brought them out. Yet, 15, yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, and that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. 16, because they despised my judgments and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Heart meaning their mind. Okay, so you know that that's important to understand. You know that the heart of the mind went after these idols in that fashion. Okay, all right, and ended up okay. Nevertheless, mine eyes spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. See, the Father's telling you he didn't even make an end of us in the wilderness, right? 18, but I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe the judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. 19, I am Yahweh, your power. Walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. And do them. See, and this is what I tried to say before. There are judgment statutes in specific areas of the law that we can do, and we should if we can do them. Okay, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahweh your power. All right, 21. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbaths. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Now, see, the Father done repeated this 3 times now that he said he's going to do this, and he's doing it because we're not picking up the clues in reference to what we're supposed to be doing in terms of getting in position to be cleansed and purified. You know, if you can't follow clues in that manner, then it's going to be very difficult for you to go through the process of cleansing and purification. Uh, and that in itself lets you know that you may not just be selected for that process. You may have to give your sacrifice on this side and then come back in the kingdom. So again, we can't say perfectly for sure because we can't choose who's who or what's going to happen to who because we don't know who's going to be called out at the last time and period. Nevertheless, 22, nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my name's sake that it should be, shalaki, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out forth. 23, I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, and I would scatter them among the heathen, see, and disperse them through the countries. So the Father is showing you right here. This is giving you the full-on indication of how he's lining up everything that's happening all the way up through Jacob's trouble, all the way up through the prophetic end of things that are going to transpire and that we see happening. That's why this is an excellent chapter here in Ezekiel chapter 20, because it's giving us a similitude and flashback and also information from Deuteronomy chapter 28, 68. You know, it's giving us very much the like matching up of things that are happening and what he's decided he was going to do. If you talk about 28 down to 15, and then going down. Okay, let me go and finish. Because they had 24, because they had not executed my judgments, but despised my statutes and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. 25. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good. See, who's doing it? Both sides. Father's doing both sides. Statutes that were, he said, right, judgments that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. See, now it's switching over to, instead of the law, judgments, and statutes becoming something to live by and live, now he's given them, he said, wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that openeth the womb, that I might make them desolate to the end, that they might know that I am Yahweh. Now, see, the Father said, I polluted them in their own gifts. Right now, a gift can be many different things. It can be something the Father bestowed upon you. Um, okay, it could be something that he bestowed he bestowed upon you, right? And in the process of him doing that, he he said, okay, blessings and curses can come in gift fashion. You can get a gift that could destroy as well as a gift that could reward. Okay, so you got to be very clear in terms of your understanding of how the Father operates. Like when he talks about he's going to plead with a nation or plead with people. The pleading is he ain't asking you for your permission or asking you to, I need you to really work. No, the pleading is you're going to get direction. You're going to get understanding on who you're dealing with. The same thing with the gifts, okay? If the Father decided to pollute them in their own gifts that they bring back to him, the sacrifices and things of that nature, it's an unacceptable thing that you're giving him, that he's not wanting from you, because you're not picking up on what he needs you to understand. And in that they caused to pass through the fire all that openeth the womb. Now, pretty much everybody that openeth the womb came here in that fashion. All right. There's no possible way that you could come to this earth if you openeth the womb and you're not going to experience passing in some way through fire, because with the puppetized Esau Edom, the fire is going to be licking at you and then licking at your ass all the time, which it is doing, and that's part of the Father making us having us pass through the fire as well. Okay, that I might make them desolate to the end, that they might know that I am Yahweh. 27. Therefore, Son of Man, speak unto the house of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh power, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me. See, Molochism, when you take your children and you sacrifice them to idols in the fire, that's a horrible thing to do. Okay? And when you do that, you're causing yourself a tremendous amount of problems from the Most High Yahweh by Shem Shai, because he never told us to do this. And that's a practice that people got involved in when they went astray, when he led them astray. And he told you that's not the type of sacrifice he wants. And we're still doing this now through different types of deleting newborn children. We're doing this through relationships with individuals, and how we don't solidify the union process between each other in a yoked fashion. So then what ends up happening is people start rejecting other people, and then they basically passing them through the fire. They're going right back through turmoil, tribulation, all types of harm, all types of desolation. And this is the passing through the fire that openeth the womb. And all of us openeth the womb and get here. And unless you were created through some kind of in pseudoscience, which is still, you're going to pass through some form of fire. 27. Therefore, Son of Man, speak unto the house of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh power, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me. Right? And that's what's happening. 28. For when I had brought them into the land for which I had lifted up mine hand to give it to them, then they saw every high hill and all the thick trees, and they of the fear them, and they feared their offended their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savor and poured out their drink offerings. And so they started offering the father a form of abomination in terms of what they thought was a good sacrifice, which it was not. 29. They're like Cain. Cain didn't give the first fruits of the harvest. He gave what he thought he wanted to give. The Father wants you to give him back his law, his statutes, his commandments, and his love the way he gave it to you. He doesn't want you to change it or refracture it and then give it to him, or get it from some other organization or man or something of that nature and give it to him. No, give it to him the way he gave it to you, directly and completely and accurately. Okay. 29. Then I said unto them, what is the high place whereunto ye go? And the name thereof is called Baham unto this day. Now that Baham is akin to Balaam, to confusion, which is what we're dealing with now, Babylon and Bam, okay, and Baham. So that's definitely not what you need to be doing with the Father. Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, 30, it's like a 30, thus saith Yahweh power, are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers? Question. And commit ye whoredoms after their abominations? Yes, we do, and yes, we have. For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day, even right now. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? Question. As I live, saith Yahweh power, I will not be inquired of you. While you're being abominable, you can't inquire of the Most High and ask him why he's doing what he's doing, or why he's bugging out Jakes and Jakettes, and why he's doing things the way he's doing them. How are you going to inquire him when you live in squalor of your abominations? Your abominations and my abominations, our abominations of squalor. We're as filthy rags. How are we going to ask the sovereign, holy, beyond what we can imagine, righteous, clean Father in the spirit, and inquire of him why he's doing whatever? 32. All right. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all. In other words, I didn't tell you to do it. And ye say, we will be as the heathen, see? And as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. So you want strong delusion, he'll give it to you. But you know, the Most High is coming with the restoration. So he will restore Israel to her land. But you have to understand, this is something that we have to go through to get through cleanse and purification. All right. 33. As I live, saith Yahweh power, no Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. See, now the Most High through Yahweh Shai, okay, he rules in the kingdom of men, which he says in scripture. No one rules more than him or more well than him, okay? Change your language and make sure you know that the Most High, through Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, he is ruling well and balanced, complete balance. No one else is doing that but him, all right? We don't want to become blasphemous in terms of how we say certain things. We need to check ourselves and understand his rulership is ruling well and balanced, because he's taking us exactly the way he said he's going to do it through prophecy. That's ruling right. That's ruling well. And he's the only ruler that rules in that capacity. 34. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out from the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. So that means we're going to see and catch the fire on us in the process of getting purified and cleansed. And that's the process of how it has to happen. 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there I will plead with you face to face. Now, as I said earlier, when the Father is going to plead, he is not pleading and asking you, to please get straight and, forgive me and each other, and I'm sorry I did this to you. No, he ain't doing that. The pleading is giving you accurate and complete direction, and also it's chastising you for you not picking up on the clues, and for us not picking up on the understanding and the clues in order to fulfill our prophecy, fulfill our point in our part in prophecy. Okay, and that's important. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahweh power. And I will cause you to pass under the rod of correction, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And he's not talking about anybody else or any other nation other than Israel. He ain't bringing nobody else into under the rod, under the covenant, right? Like when he passed through the water with Moses and been baptized, right? In the 2 Corinthians. 38, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, and I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Okay, so he's going to purge out the rebels. Now we can clearly see who the rebels are. Why? Because the rebels are doing what rebels do. You know, just like that pork belly eating babbler that goes online every now and then and talks about he can eat anything he wants because he's under some form of distorted liberty that he's talking about. Well, guess what? They're getting purged out. All of the monetization people and organizations and camps and people who are monetizing Hamashiach and the truth and just using that as marketing strategies in order to use the 501 program and get and keep up and chase bags of money and chase bags in general. They're getting purged out, and that's what's going to happen, because you're not going to continue to give the Father or think you're giving him gifts by saying we're doing the work, but at the same time the work that you're doing is towards filthy lucre and other abominations. He's not tolerating that. But, you know, they think they are, but he's doing it to show them these are the individuals that will be purged out. And he's going to bring, and he says, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, which is what they're doing, and I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. 39, as for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Yahweh power, go ye serve ye everyone his idols. In other words, you go ahead because I'm going to put strong delusion on you and you go serve these idols. And hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. So he's fed up. You're not picking up on his understanding, on the clues. You're steady thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to follow, you know, what this person says or what that person says or what this organization says or what he says or what this bishop says. And then you go out and you just think that you're doing this, but Most High is leading you astray. And this is what you're getting. 40, for in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, holy mountain, his government, his organization that he's going to set up, because it will be holy, his nation of the height of Israel, saith Yahweh power, there shall be all the house of Israel, all of them in the land serve me. Talking about Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. There will I accept them, and will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. Okay, 41. We're getting close now to what I was talking about. And I will accept you with your sweet savor at this time. So you're getting purified and cleansed now. You're getting cleansed and purified. Sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out from the countries. In other words, the people, talking about all the heathens and the rest of the nations that aren't in the covenant, and gather you out of the countries wherein ye have been scattered, which he did scatter us, and we're still there. And I will be and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. We're going to see that sanctification, and they're going to see it as well when we get delivered. And that's in Wisdom of Solomon. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for which I lifted up my hand and gave it to your fathers. See, we're getting there, okay? We're getting there, and those individuals are going to be cleaned and cleared out soon. That's why you see everything that's happening at this time. Prophecy's moving forward exactly in the fashion it's supposed to. Now, here's 43, which I told you before. Things are going to be remembered in terms of what you say, what you do, and who you say it to. What you say, what you do, and who you say it to. 43. And there ye shall remember your ways and all your doings, whereas ye have been defiled, because we're in the defiled state here. Okay, all right. Says we're so I'm saying no one's getting away with anything, and you're gonna where ye have been defiled, and ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. Now I'm gonna read that again. So you heard it in scripture. So if you think you're going to go off and have aught with someone, and you're not doing it the way Yahushua Hamashiach did it, when he dealt with the woman who was brought in adultery by other Israelite men, but they didn't bring the man and they didn't bring her husband, and Yahushua wasn't operating at the level of a priest at that time. They were asking him whether or not she should be stoned or whether she should be judged in the way she should be judged. How did he address the woman? Did he call her a nigger woman? No. He didn't do that. Now, was those other Israelite men possibly doing that? They possibly could have. But what did he finally say? Long and short of it was, roughly paraphrased, he checked, he went down, he started writing names, probably writing the names of the men who brought her there, who probably had some activity with her as well, possibly. I don't know. Just speaking as a man, roughly paraphrased on that part. But when he sat down, he started writing in the ground or in the sand, they all started to disappear one by one. Maybe they saw their name down there. I don't know. But they left. After they were all gone, Yahushua asked her what? Did he jump up and say, all right, nigga, woman? No, he said, okay, woman, where are your accusers? In other words, do they have the right to throw the first stone, which he said nobody did? So where are the accusers? No accusers. They all left. So he said, I'm not accusing you either, even though he knew the truth, whether she did it or not. But he forgave her, and he said, go your way and sin no more. Now, why did he say sin no more? Because we all, at this particular time in this fallen state, fall short of the glory of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So he wasn't going to say that you're not a sinner or you didn't sin. No, we all do, because this is the state that we're in, a fallen state, and it's full of sin. But did he go off on her in a negative way? Mirror the Mashiach. How did he handle it? Same thing in terms of an example when he dealt with certain men and their issues and what they had in terms of them going off and doing stuff. How did Hamashiach deal with his brother and his brothers? Did he deal with them the way we deal with them? Ask yourself this question. Fill out the role of the pros and the cons on how you are actually mirroring Hamashiach. Let's see if you really fit the bill in terms of what he's saying he's doing. Okay? Right. Like he said, because guess what? Verse 43 of Ezekiel 20 says this, and there shall ye remember your ways. This is in the new covenant, and all your doings, because you now wherein ye have been defiled, because we all in a defiled state here, pretty much in this kingdom. If you in the flesh, you are in a defiled state. Okay? All right? And ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel, saith Yahweh power. So you can clearly see, Father's telling you right now, you can say all the shit you want about whoever you want to say it to. But you better remember, in Ezekiel chapter 20, around 42, 43 and on, you will have to loathe yourself about stuff you said about whoever. Because if you ain't Hamashiach, you better be careful. We better be careful. I better be careful in how we treat the Israelites that are going to be in the covenant and in the kingdom, and they're going to remember some of this stuff. And the Father's doing this to everything and everyone. Prophecy is alive, and he's controlling it all. So if you got aught or a problem with the way he's doing it, you take it up with him. You go back and you tell the Most High, oh, you want to go and say this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth about someone because you know you have the right to speak about the abomination through the scriptures, but you leave it right there for him to deal with the judgment. You leave it to him. Because you will see those Israelites again. And they'll have shame, and I'll have shame, and we can have shame. And how much shame do we want to bear and when we get there? How much shame do we want to bear when we get there, if we get there, right? You need to understand that. Okay, that's important. A lot of times we lose focus of that situation. Okay? 44. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel, saith Yahweh power. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face towards the south, and drop thy word towards the south. Prophesy against the forest of the south field. Now, the field is the world, and of course, the forest has to do with the smaller pockets of what's in the world, countries, right? City, state, whatever you want to call it, right? So he's prophesying against everyone everywhere in that, all right? And say to the forest of the south, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I will kindle a fire in thee, and it shall devour every green tree in thee, and every dry tree, and flaming flame shall not be quenched, and all faces from the south to the north shall be burned therein. See, there's a fire and a cleansing coming that's way higher than what you can imagine in terms of everybody's going to be touched. Ain't nobody sliding or skating. Everybody's going to be touched. And we're going to have to answer for some of the dumb shit that we've been saying and doing to each other and people. Now, I'm not saying you can't call it out, because I call it out. They call it out on me. People call it out on everybody. This in this truth. You got to do it because that's part of the process. Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud, spare not. You got to do it. Cry aloud, spare not. But you be careful on how you interpret your cry aloud, spare not, because you don't have power to actually do something to someone. You just have the ability and giving a similitude of some power to call out the unrighteousness and let the Most High Yahweh by Shem Yahushua through the Hamashiach handle it. Because that's what he's doing anyway. You don't want to get on the wrong end of the rod, because we got to go under it, right? Okay, 48. And all flesh shall see that I, Yahweh, have kindled it. Who? All flesh. Does that leave anybody out? Do you get a pass? He said, all flesh, all flesh, all flesh shall see that I, Yahweh, have kindled it. It shall not be quenched. He's covering it, and he's going to determine when he wants to stop. Okay? Then saith I, Yahweh power, they say of me, doeth he not speak parables? In other words, do you understand that this is more than just you thinking that, well, okay, well, that doesn't pertain to me. That's just a parable. I'm not part of that. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Don't think that you're not, because you are. Okay? So I'm getting ready to set up now for the lesson here, where you can see it. That the one that I did, and it's part of vexation, the vexation of our guilt. And it's a very good lesson. It's going to have more. If you want to hang around for it, fine. If you don't, hey, no problem. Maybe the Most High just didn't want you to be part of that process. He didn't want you to hear that part of it, or experience that part of the fruit. I don't know. But if he wants you to see it and to experience, then you will. So we're gonna see how it go. Give me a second here to get it all set up, and then we're going to let it run, and then we're gonna go ahead and get things going here. So just bear with me a second here. You know how it is when you gotta set your technology up, right? And that's what we're doing. So just give me a minute. I'm gonna have it for you in a second here. Let me just get straight. Let me get on it. Okay. I believe I'm on it now. Okay, look, it's looking good. It's looking good. And then we go. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Kohalom, Yahweh. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I want to give my admiration and my respect to the Akim who are out here striving to continue to bring this truth out in spite of all that is happening so quickly and so fast to the hand of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Definitely want to give utmost respect and admiration for the diligency of the apostles who have been bringing out the truth decade in and decade out with the accuracy that is at best what we can have as we are in this fallen state, as the Most High hand is on everything that's happening, that is happening and will happen. The lesson for today is, it's a good one. It's a tough one. But it's a hard lesson to bring out. So we just got to do the best we can. And as with the Most High give us range and grace in order to do it. You know, because the title of the lesson is the vexation of our own guilt. That's right. The vexation of our own guilt. Now, you know, this has a wide range, a reach in reference to where we are with the transitional prophetic process moving forward at this time, as the Most High is in control of all things and his hand is on everything. And everything that he has, and he's moving in the direction that he's moving. He's playing both sides of the chessboard that belongs to him because it's his movie, and he is the producer, the director, the finisher, and the author of all of our faith and all of our grace. And he is in control. He rules everywhere on everything. And he gets all honors on everything and everywhere, and no one else gets it but him, because he rules extremely beyond well in the kingdoms of men, and no one else can do that. You know, we are definitely in vexation of our own guilt. What does that mean? Well, we know what a vexation is. A vexation is a process upon which we are definitely debased in the way that we try to operate, in showing that we have some prominence of power or prominence of understanding, but we are debased. We should be praying, worshiping, and praising. We should be praising and worshiping and praying with whatever free way you want to slice it, we should be doing. Because as things get turned up, you won't be in a position that you're dialed in, and you want to be dialed in with the Most High on all levels, not just the prayer level. You want to be dialed in and tight on your praise, your worship, and your prayer levels, you know, completely. I mean, absolutely. Because the amount of judgment that will befall this world is beyond what we can stand. That's why our vexation is our own guilt, because we have to go through it. Just like Yahushua went through it. When he came here for us, and even as he, you know, I was listening to Elder Yashawama when he talked about we all going to have a moment of the Garden of Gethsemane. But the problem is, yes, we will experience some aspects of what Yahushua went through in calling upon the Father, in order for the fathers to speak with him and speak to his spirit about what will happen and what must be done and what has to be done with this prophetic, what he is prophetically destined to do, which is no doubt, you know, both portions of the process of payment in terms of what we owe the salvation that we didn't earn is come. The disciples, the apostles, were asked to stay awake for an hour, and I went through the process of breaking down what an hour could be for us in the Cornell passage during the hour of temptation, when we talked about the myriad of time aspects spoken through the Bible in terms of what we can realize in our living conditions here as we move through and on into prophecy. Um, a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day with the Lord. And then the way I broke down an hour from a day to a numerical factor, we had understood that we could be dealing with moments and seconds, that things could be happening, as with, he said, with the scriptures, we will be changed, like with the winkling and twinkling of an eye, roughly paraphrase, but then you're in a spiritual body, you know. We speak in terms of what we can imagine it would be like to be in a spiritual body, and some of the attributes of that particular type of body and what that body could do and couldn't do. But our range is so low level in terms of what we should be speaking about and what we can do. The Spirit, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shad Ruach Kadesh, gave me a very interesting spin on some of the things that we should be thinking about that we don't. We don't reach hard enough to teach what could be, even though we prophesy in part and know in part. But it doesn't mean you cannot reach for the understanding or pray for the revelation of what things could be further in a reaching portion of the intelligence and the cognitive ability that's built within you once you are awake to the truth. Case in point, there's so many other things to teach about that are high level edification, opposite dealing with fighting bug outs and debates. They have a purpose. The apostles told you, that many of the men of the Lord told you, these things must be. We're going to have Jakes doing jacked up stuff, and we're going to have Jakettes and all kinds of heathens doing all kinds of crazy weirdo crap. But this is what they're scheduled and destined to be. They were predestined to do these things. But are you predestined to be distracted by them in terms of what you could be moving forward to in terms of feeding the sheep? A higher level of nutrient food that would be better served to them. Why? Why do spiritual levels of blockage prevent us from time to time to reach for that high level nutrient in terms of the food that would be the manna that should be offered to the elect in those that need to be awakened, and who's that been predestined to receive itself. We don't claim responsibility for the things that we did and apologize for it that we did when we weren't in the truth. We sometimes, and most times, walk with a proud presence as though we've already arrived. As though we have a key, as though we have access, as though we are higher than those that are sitting on the thrones that surround the Most High, who get down and worship and praise the Most High, who have spiritual bodies, who have overcome, who have thrones and crowns. We don't have them yet. We are desperately and diligently trying to earn them. What is the problem? Well, can we not praise and worship and pray hard to the Most High to lift, some of the aspects of spiritual blockage, the scales off of our eyes, the fog off of our minds, so that we don't have a spiritual blockage to not understand that we should be teaching things that bring us closer to riding these horses of prophetic process that the Most High set in motion, that He's covering from all sides. We should be anxiously asking our Father, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, to just free up the revelation of things that are important to operating and navigating within the prophetic judgments that are coming down on the entire earthly plane. Where are we? Where are we with this understanding? Why aren't we with this understanding? This is, it's extremely beyond problematic, beyond the time frame that we are at this time now, with the hourglass that the Most High has turned over from His spiritual hand and from His spiritual realm of control, is beyond the hourglass that was before from the covenant of old, that was humanistically brought into existence for a teaching method that brings us to where we are now. There's too much that cannot and will not go unanswered. Yahweh Shem Yahshai is the only direction and answer you can have. But if we can't resolve ourselves to humility, release and pray for and worship and praise, that we get released from pride, that we acquire humility, because without that, you cannot wield spiritual power. You will not be delegated spiritual power if you are not in a humble position in order to accept it and understand it. Let's make it clear, very clear. What spiritual power will be dealt out by Yahweh Shem Yahushai will be under His strict control. You will not willy-nilly this spiritual power and do whatever you want. The Most High will still do things in decently and order. You got to understand this and believe that. Everything He has is done in decently and order. All the angels, all the powers, all creation, all the resources that He has created, they're all done in decently and in order. There's no vexation of guilt upon these things. None. All the vessels of honor and dishonor are still operating in order and to the Most High. everything is under his decent control. This is what we should be looking to praise and worship for, answers to give to the sheep, to give them a track, a path that the Most High sets forth. He will deliver, but he's delivered us always. Even in most cases, the prophets got information all the time about what direction gets us in the paths to be delivered, whether we pay attention to it or not. This information is provided, it is given. It will be given again. The Most High don't change. Malachi chapter 4, speaking in that language, the Most High always provides a way out, and He gives direction on how to follow that way out. So it's ultimately imperative to graduate to the level of understanding where we can be vessels of revelation to bring forth the direction to the sheep who, with nutrient food and feed, so that what we can understand is as it always been when we pray for that wisdom to direct, as Solomon did, to lead to Most High's children through the perils of tribulation, through the confusion of faith, through the obstacles of puppetized Esau Edom. The fear of the Lord is the wisdom and understanding to know what to ask of him as we are. Like many times we just don't know what to pray for as we ought, roughly paraphrase. But we have to learn to lead and read the scriptures in a way that brings forth the knowledge to direct the children in a path that the Most High set forth. And if we leave a trail, the trail will stay and be available for those that will come through, who are predestined to follow that through to salvation, working out our salvation in turn in fear and trembling. Fearing Yahweh Shem Yahushai is imperative, but it comes through a humble state of existence in his truth. We owe apologies to many of our sisters and women who we took part in the processes of dealing with them before we were in the truth, that allowed them to be in the condition that they're in, with the hand of the Most High operating through his prophetic process that brings forth these types of revelations. But at the same time, we took part in this process. Our hands are not clean when it comes to this. They are owed apologies for things we've done in the world to them, with them, and for them, as we are to our brothers as well who have done things to them who are not right. Because the vexation of our own guilt brings the levels of humility that could stratify the process of being rewarded and crowned with the type of spiritual power that's important. There's a spiritual power that's just your physical new spiritual body. One of the things that operates the spiritual power and keeps it under control is the fuel that is put in the mindset of your spirit that comes to it from the bosom of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's a mindset that controls the wielding of that particular power. And if that power is not controlled by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, it in a humble mindset, then it's not going to be operating correctly. And it's a good chance that some will not be rewarded with that ability. You'll be in the kingdom, but you won't be a superpower because humility will determine who that blessing and mantle is laid on. Let's make sure we understand this. This lesson is about vexation of our own guilt here that we must work and go through in these chains that we're in. Peter and the apostles went to sleep on Yahushua when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. When he asked them, you couldn't even stay awake an hour. How you going to operate under his spiritual power, jurisdiction, his spiritual power guidance, his spiritual power control of his men who are his host? How do you do that if you can't even stay awake for an hour? Meaning stay away from your own wants and needs and lustful feelings. You can't do it for an hour. How are you going to stay a watch as he asked to perform the rituals of salvation for us? This is important. This is beyond what you can imagine. And if he asks for strength from the Father, but through Yahweh's will, not his own will, through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he asks for what the Father wants. He always prays and worships his Father, and he prayed to his Father for that answer, and his Father gave that answer. This must be done. But the apostles went to sleep. They were distracted. By what? By what? It's time to accept responsibility for our own vexation of guilt. Get humble so that we can be awarded and rewarded the mind control of spiritual power. We get ready to get to some scriptures, okay? Because we need to. I'll tell you, it's just been so much that has been going on with everything that I've been watching lately. You know, all of the bug outs, and the different things that are going down in the world. I have this here. Let me get a little sip of this here. Man, fix my garment. Yep. Shimmy on shot. Oh man, I tell you, boy. Like I said, this is a tough lesson because it it really is eating away terms of trying to express the fact that the Most High, He has already made His predeterminations on absolutely everything. You name it, He's done it. And we, as His chosen, we got some problems. Okay. We got us some problems. And the reason why I say we do is because we get distracted too often by the things that we should be able to look past and work past at this particular point in time. But again, I've always said that He's in control of all things, and He's already made His decisions. You know, I was looking at several videos, and during this period of time right now, we're into the new moon and the Shabbat, and I know a lot of us are solemnly mourning the situations that are going on in our lives based on how close we are to the end, and the vexation is very heavy and very thick right at this time. And it just speaks in so many different ways about what it is that we should be operating under and what we should be, dealing with. It's just so much that could be said, but then there's so much that isn't said, and we end up dealing with different types of experiences, and we work as best we can with these experiences, but we don't understand that the Most High has already predetermined everything that's already going to happen. So you probably say to me, "Oh, okay, so what are you talking about, Brother Obadiah? Are you saying that we don't have to do or we shouldn't do?" No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is that since we already know that the Most High has made His choices and His selections are set in motion, and no one is going to change what He wants to do. You got a lot of wacky-tacky practitioners, religious practitioners that believe that when Yahushua came, who they hate when they call Jesus, when He came, He went ahead and gave Him the ability to do all things, which he is, but at the same time, He's not changing what the Most High set Him forth to do. He always told you that He came to do His Father's will, and all of what He has to do has been predetermined, just like He was predetermined to be here even before the fall of Adam and Eve, and before we got into this condition that the Most High knew we had to go through in order to earn to right to be in His kingdom, and in turn being in His kingdom to have eternal life and salvation, because you can't know what the value of that is unless you go through what we're going through here. So, if I were to say, if someone said to me, "Well, do we have to go through this? Why do we have to go through this if everything's been predetermined?" Well, see, here's the part of it. I did a lesson about you are interviewing for your eternal salvation while you're here, which goes back to a lot of what I spoke about before in terms of the fact that whatever your lot was and you came out of, and then the mission that you actually agreed to in the spirit world from the first time that you had the meeting with Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and then your spirit is to be brought forth into this system. And then at that point, I don't know how many times any individual soul has been through here, but we can pretty much let's take a spiritual educated guess and say you've been here more than one time in terms of your spirit. So in terms of knowing that, in terms of dealing with that, you agree to perform a specific amount of the mission and to complete the mission, and this is what the Most High has programmed you to do. So, you run into issues and situations where you have certain religious practitioners that want to act as though they know what this is all about. They don't. They're not spiritually connected to the Most High in that way. He only has a certain chosen people. They don't need to be taking and touching this word in any capacity. The book is not for them. The information is not about them, nor does it profit them. Okay, and that's where he asked, "Why would you even take this in your mouth?" Roughly paraphrase. So the point still remains that the level of vexation of our own guilt is supported by the fact that we're not completing the mission in the light of what the Most High really needs us to do from time to time. But he knows this. And so this is why, you have to praise, worship, and pray for the ability to have these scales, as I said earlier, removed from your eyes, like what happened with Saul, who became Paul, on his way to Damascus to go to Nicodemus, and at the time when his scales fell from his eyes and he could see. See, the bottom line is we all have these scales right now over our eyes in terms of what we can and cannot see. And we are not effectively doing what we should be doing, I think, in terms of what I'm seeing, the way people in the truth and my Achaean brothers and the elect, they're getting distracted by a lot of things that's happening. You have to make sure that you give the answers that are there. You are giving them the information that's coming in the prophetic process that is happening. You are showing them the judgments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But he also gives you the solutions, and he gives you the transitional navigation in that process of prophecy to be able to get through specific things, because Jacob's trouble's coming in here, but he will be saved out of it. So that means the remnant and those that are scheduled to be saved out of it, they have answers coming to them through the scriptures in reference to what's that supposed to be. But we have to accept the vexation of our own guilt. We have to understand where it is we got off the path and praise, worship, and pray that he gets us back on the path so we can complete that mission. That's important. We're going to break down some scriptures here and get into it. I mean, my commentary was obviously long, but I had to get into it from this perspective because, it's been that way. And, this is a good time to bring the message out because it's a Sabbath, and what we need to understand is we're going to be doing this Sabbath so much more righteously and gracefully and mercifully in the kingdom. And this is not very long for us to get to this point. But as I was saying also, we got the MOTV coming, but there's a couple of things that also have to be added to and happen before that situation does hit full force. It talks about the two witnesses, which represents the kingdom of Judah as well as the kingdom of Israel, that have to take part in a takedown process in order for it to raise up in 3 days and show the power that the Most High wants to bring. And that brings me to that point. All of what's happening and everything that's going is because the Most High Yahweh, the Father, is showing his power. They will say his name, even if they don't know. They're going to call out his name just because he's going to make sure they know exactly who he is. Under no circumstances will you get confused with any idolatry or idolatristic information that's being brought out. That is not going to be the case. You're going to know, just like Pharaoh knew, just like he told you, he rose up Pharaoh just for that purpose. Well, he's doing the same thing right now when it comes to this particular world at this point. So this is what the Most High is doing. So let's not get that twisted at all. He will make sure that his power is shown. Stand and watch the salvation of the Lord, of Yahweh, because this is what you're going to see. And you're either going to be part of it or you're going to have it be part of you. It's going to be one of the situations or the other. So you might as well get ready for that. But let's get into some scripture and talk about the vexation of our own guilt. And we're going to bring it out in scripture because I think I took long enough to get into this. We're going to start in Ecclesiastes chapter 1. I believe I want to go there. So let's go with me to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Took me long enough to get there, right? But I'm here. All right. Where am I going to go? I'm going to 14. All right. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That's what the Most High is saying. That's what we're dealing with. All is vanity and vexation of spirit. Okay, let's not get that twisted and understand that. Okay, we're going to go straight to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. All right. All right. We can start right at the top. We're going to start at 1. It says, I said in mine heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth, therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this also is vanity. Now, when Solomon was bringing this out and giving this explanation of what was going on, remember, he asked for the wisdom to lead the children in the way that they needed to be led as far as the kingdom is concerned. He didn't ask for the riches, or he wasn't being lustful about women or anything of that nature. He ended up acquiring a lot of the things that were very worldly in that capacity, which eventually turned out to be not such a blessing for him anyway. But at the same time, what I am saying is that this is not what he asked for in the beginning, which shows that that spirit that he had at the time was very wise. Okay? And he understood the vanity of everything that was here, because you're not going to take this stuff with you into the kingdom. It's not happening. You know, think about that. What from this kingdom would you choose to take, if you could, into the new covenant, into the new kingdom? What here in this system would you take with you? Now think about it, because this is a fallen state, and just about everything here is toxic except for the scriptures that are filtered through in truth from Yahweh Shem Shai. But everything else is going to be toxic, man, except for his word and his law. So what do you think you could possibly take with you into that system that's coming with Yahweh Shem Shai in the new covenant? I say you not taking anything, because we ain't having no garage sale of Esau's crap. All right, just want to bring that out. Okay, 2. I said of laughter. All right, it is mad, and of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under heaven all the days of their life. So, you know, he's really evaluating what's important here. What do you really think that your heart should have in terms of what you're going to deal with and how you're going to deal with wisdom? He's bringing this out, right? I made me great works. I built me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards and planted trees in them and all kinds of fruits. See, he's doing all of this. I made me pools of water to water wherewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got my servants and my maidens, and I had servants born in my house. Also, I had possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold and peculiar treasures of kings of the provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments and that of all sorts. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also, my wisdom remaineth with me. See, this is what Solomon's telling you. And wherefore, and whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on 11. Now, see, here we go. Look, check out verse 11. Then I looked on all the works of my hands and had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. You see what I'm saying? So he already told you right there, going down from second Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and once we got to 11, the 11th verse, everything was vexation of spirit. Okay, let's hit 12. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can a man do that cometh after the king, even that which hath been already done? 13. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly as far as light excelleth darkness. Right? Check that out. And the wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I myself perceive also that one event happeneth to them all. Then said I in my heart, as it happened to the fool, so it happened even to me. And why was I then more wise? Question. Then I said to my heart that this also is vanity. You see what I'm saying? For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever, seeing that which now is in the days to come shall be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man as a fool? Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. For all is vanity and vexation of spirit. You see what I'm saying? And that whole, this whole Ecclesiastes chapter 2 clearly brings out the dichotomy of the wisdom and the vexation of spirit between your carnality that you operate under and your flesh. When you get into debates with people, and all kinds of Edomites and all kinds of individuals and bug outs, you're operating in a carnality based application where you're trying to overlay spirituality to say so-called defend the gospel. And I understand the principle behind wanting to defend the gospel, because it is spiritually written that we should do this. But we don't seem to understand that in defending the gospel, the methodology upon doing it has to be based upon humility and wisdom, without the prideful activity of both and going at these individuals and bug outs from that pride platform. That's not the nature upon how you defend the gospel. And plus, who says that Yahushua needs to be defended by us? Point blank, period. He doesn't need our help to do anything. He is requiring us to participate in the work based on the fact that our work is part of our worship. And in the process of the work being part of our worship, we may receive a reward at some point. But the reward doesn't come until after you do the worship and the work. It doesn't come before. So that's very important. So vexation of spirit is what we need to understand in terms of the humility that is necessary in order to operate under the guidelines and the premise that Yahweh is offering to us. This needs to really be examined by the men of the Lord and those elect that are in because if you're not examining this, you can't practice it nor get involved with it, nor can you teach it. Okay. All right. Let's go to. Let's see. I just did. When do we stop? Okay, we know it's okay. I stopped there. Hated life because I be hating my labor. All right. Let's do 19, and then I'm gonna pull away from Ecclesiastes 2 and go back to 1 because I need a precept from things from there. 19, and who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Question. Yet shall he have rule over my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have shown myself wise under the sun. This also is vanity. All right. Therefore, I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in equity, yet to the man that hath not labored, therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. For what hath man of all his labor and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief, yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. Right? So I want to stop there, and then I'm going to pull back to 1 because I got a couple precepts I want to pull from there, which I want to go to 17, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 17. And I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and follies. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. Okay? So this is why we look at a lot of things that we want to acquire in life, and we use a carnality application in terms of looking to acquire it because we're not practicing operating in the spirit. So since we're not, that is not the first thing we choose in terms of making decisions and then pushing forward to try to enact those decisions. So that's why it's important to try to understand that when this statement says here, and I gave my heart to know wisdom, this is what you do, but it says, and I know madness and folly, right? Because you do, because this is what usually you're participating in and surrounded by when you do give your heart to wisdom, right? And I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit, right? Okay, and we're going to go right down to 18 because this is important in terms of trying to understand what it is we're dealing with here. And okay, and it says here, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Check that out. So as you increase more knowledge here, do you increase sorrow? Yeah, because you can clearly see the state of what we're in and how far and how bad we've fallen. And now that you know that, how much more vexation of our own guilt do we operate under and that we see? You see what I'm saying? Okay. I did 17, 22, and 26. I want to go now to Deuteronomy. Go with me to Deuteronomy. And I'm going to pull Deuteronomy 28 and 20. So go to Deuteronomy 28. And then when I go to 20, it says, the Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou sittest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings whereby thou hast forsaken me. So see, we can see how we forsake Yahweh Shai, and in turn we earn the curses that are associated with it. You know, you gotta understand, if you start blending worldly carnality and trying to blend it with spirituality as far as this truth is concerned, as us being the Hebrew Israelites who have wakened up, that the Most High woke up, you run into this kind of a situation where you're going to inherit the curses to come upon you. They're still out there for those individuals that are destined for this to happen to. And you don't want to be in line for that. So you got to understand your humility is so important in terms of removing the vexation of guilt and the vexation of your spirit on you. And it's the only way that you can appeal to the Most High to have that removed. You see what I'm saying? Let's see. I'm going to go to Second Chronicles because I saw something there. I pulled a precept there that was important. So Second Chronicles, and I want to pull up 29 and what was it? 8, I believe I had 29. Yeah, in verse 8, and it says, "Wherefore the wrath of Yahweh was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he hath delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, and to hissing, as ye see with your eyes." So you can see the Most High is clearly letting you know he's not happy with the process that's going on with all this pride and all this this vexation that people are operating under, and this is why it's being turned up on them. Okay, now I want to go to Job chapter 5 and then verse 2 and then 6. So let's go chapter 5 and then it was 2. And it reads, "For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one." Okay, and now we go to Job chapter 6 and verse 2. "Oh, that my grief were thoroughly weighed and my calamity laid in the balance together." See, the Most High is letting you know that he's in control of all things, and he has a lot of individuals that are destined to fulfill specific parts of this prophetic process as we move forward. And I know that it might sadden some to say that if you are created to be a vessel of dishonor, this is the role you are not going to get out of, as well as if you're created to be a vessel of honor. So you have that particular process that he set up already, and you can't change it. He has to make the change. No one else is going to make that change. It's very simple. All right, I'm going to Job chapter 10, and I'm going to pull from 17 when I get to 10, okay? So Job chapter 10 and verse 17 says, "Thou renewest thy witness against me, and increaseth thine indignation upon me. Changes and war are against me." See, the Most High is a man of war. He's coming back. He's the Lord of hosts. And when he comes back, he sends his son back as his representation. And he ain't coming back giving out chocolates and roses. He's coming back to take this system down. And they took it by violence. And he's going to take it back the same way. So you might as well get ready for the situation. And in order to navigate through this process, you need to be in a state where praise and worship is so important. When he cuts off all communication among all of us, and you're on an island by yourself, just like when you leave here and go back to the spirit world, you have to stand by yourself, for yourself, in front of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and with the Mashiach and the angels. Nobody's going to be there to protect you. It's not going to be no pastor there. There's going to be no Akim brothers there, no camp there to protect you or to vouch for you when you stand in the spirit world in front of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You're on your own then. So what are you going to say then? What are you going to do then? See, this is something that people don't really consider or think about all that much, but they need to start paying close attention to it because this is what's coming. I want to go to Jeremiah. It's not going to take too much longer on the lesson, but you know we're gonna rock through a few more precepts here. Jeremiah chapter 2. So bear with me, and we're going to go to 27. Jeremiah 2:27, and it reads, saying to a stock, thou art my father, and to a stone, thou hast brought me forth, for they have turned their back unto me, and not their face, but in the time of their trouble, they will say, arise and save us. And see, this is what the Most High knows that they're going to be doing. They know that at some point they're going to get to a stage where when they're shut off and cut off, they're going to need Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to come and deliver them. And if you don't know the name and you operating with thy gods, O Judah. Okay, so the Most High letting you know you weren't around worshiping fake white Jesus and all kinds of people, money, and men, and none of this is going to save you. When the Most High drops the bottom out of this whole system, which is coming extremely fast. So you need to recognize that situation. Go to Jeremiah chapter 4, and we're going to pick up verse 18. Jeremiah 4:18, and it reads, thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee. This is thy wickedness, because it is bitter, because it reacheth unto thine heart. Okay, that's the thing. I got to read 19 right under it. My bowels, I am pained in my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, and the sound of the trumpet and the alarm of war. This is what the Most High says coming, and he's telling you, destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. 21. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? Most High, he's fed up. He had enough. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Okay? So the Most High is going to behold this earth, and he's going to shake it the way he shakes it, and you're going to know about it. All right, we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 7 now and pick up precept here. 7:19, all right? Before I jump back to 7:19, and it reads, do they provoke me to anger? Question saith Yahweh the Lord. Do they not provoke themselves to confusion of their own faces? You see what I mean? Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man, upon beast, and upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched. See that? Most High is coming with the nuclear aspects of judgment, and when he brings it, no one's turning it back. You see, so how much are you not understanding what's going on here? You got to get into this. Jeremiah chapter 11. Let's go there. And I'm going to read 12. And it reads, then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry unto gods unto whom they offer incense, but they shall not save them at the time of their trouble. 13. For according to the number of the cities where thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets in Jerusalem, have he set up altars to that shameful thing, even altars to burn incense upon Baal. See that? 14. Therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. You see what I'm saying? The Most High is telling you, he is bringing the pain. He's covering from both sides. And the only way you're going to be able to navigate through this process that he's bringing forward as the elect and as those that are chosen, that small remnant, is praise, worship, and prayer. You have to be doing all three. I cannot emphasize this enough because the Most High is pushing this on my spirit to continue to pound this. It has to be praise, worship, and prayer. Praise, worship, and prayer. Praise, worship, and prayer. A combination altogether. Yes, do the work. Get the precepts out. Byways, highways, highways, byways. Yes, all of that. Do the work, but you still got to praise, worship, and prayer. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Okay? All right. A few more precepts in before we get ready to close out on this. Shalaki on, you know, my attitude. I start out humble and everything, and I know I get riled up a little bit with about this because he works with my spirit about this situation. But this Shalaki, you know, the water about the shaw, please forgive me. Okay. I'm going to go to Psalms. So go with me to Psalms, and I'm going to go to chapter 6, and I'm going to hit verse 7. And it says, mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. Right? Psalms 10. I want to go there and pull 10 and 14. Psalm chapter 10, verse 14, and it says, Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief in spite, to requite it with thine hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. That is my father, Yahweh, Shem Yahushua. Okay, I want to go to Psalms 31. And I want precept 9. Okay, I got a method for this that I'm working on, so bear with me. 9. Have mercy on me, O Yahweh, for I am in trouble. Mine eye is consumed with grief, yea, my soul and my belly. So I'm trying to show you that the vexation we live through, we know, you know, this is what we're going through. And this vexation spirit is very real. Okay, I want to go to Psalms chapter 4 and verse what do I want? 4. Psalms 4. No, Shilaki. I want to go to Proverbs chapter 4. I'm going to pop over to Proverbs chapter 4, and I want 16. And it says, For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. And this is what the Most High says he's dealing with when it comes to these people who are wicked. Esau Edom, right? So Proverbs chapter 6, verse 14, and it reads, forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. Right? So the Most High says, 15, therefore shall I bring calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. And let's go into the 6 things. The 6 things doeth Yahweh hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. Okay, here we go. 17, a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that are swift to run into mischief, a false witness that speaks lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. And when thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light, and reproof of instruction are the way of life. See what I'm saying? He's letting you know right there off the bat. That lines it all up right there. I'm going to go to 12. Share a little love to improve our situation. Love that song. Shalaki. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 16. And it reads, a fool's wrath is presently known, but a prudent man covereth shame. Okay, that's the humility that I'm trying to tell you that we need to cover. Go to Proverbs chapter 15. We're getting ready to wrap it up soon here. And go to 6. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. Okay? Go with me to 21 in Proverbs and 19, and it reads, Proverbs 21:19. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. But when I say that, I'm not speaking specifically about our women. I'm using it as Israel is known as the Most High's woman, that woman, right? It's better to dwell in the wilderness to deal with a bunch of bugged out Israelites that are supposed to be the chosen people of the Most High that are clearly on the wrong path. And that is contentious and it causes problems. And this gets our men, the men of the Lord and the Akim and the brethren distracted by dealing with these bug outs and coming up and having to do things that speak to their reproof all the time. We got to reprove and move because we got more important things to talk about because the bottom. Getting ready to drop out, and we're going to be on an island by ourselves with no communication other than what the Royal Call Condition, the Holy Spirit, is going to be able to provide for you, because you may not have the access to who you usually communicate with. Maybe Yahweh will provide it, but we can't know that for sure. Okay, okay. We're going to 24 now. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 2, and it says, "For their hearts sudden." Studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom, though wisdom is in house building, and by understanding it is established. Right? All right, so then we're going to go to 27 from here, Proverbs 27, and we're going to read 3, and it reads, "A stone is heavy, and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both." This is so very important that we have to make sure that we clearly understand what it is we're dealing with here. Because the Most High has made his decisions. They have already set in stone. And that stone is very heavy on the spirit of all he has created, on everything he has created. The resources, his people, his creatures, we as creatures, who we are. And that's a heavy burden that we have put on ourselves from vexation of our own guilt. You've got to understand, if we can't find a way to communicate in the same capacity of humility that the Mashiach did with the Father, his Father, our Father, then we're going to be in a position where we're going to make our lives so much more difficult to operate in the spirit. Vexation of our own guilt is something we have to look at very deeply, and we have to dissect it to the degree where we can offer each other some consoling power and process. It's best to try to get as much of that from from Yahweh Shem Yahushai and get it done while we're still here in these chains of flesh that we're in before we transition out. You do not want to take any of this with you when you transition out of here. And that's what's most important at this point. We have to learn that. And this was the lesson of vexation of our own guilt. I'm sure that I could probably do 3 more lessons on this same situation. And if Yahweh Shem Yahushai provides that venue and wants me to do it, then so be it, I will do it. But for now, this is where we will stop. And I will say to you, I hope that you have a resourceful and spiritually successful praise and worship and prayer-driven Shabbat as we transition into this point, soon to be some more periods of time where some holy days are coming up, and we need to be ready for when the Most High makes the next big move. Shalom and about the ball. All right. Hello, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Ragadash, the water Yahweh, the water Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Shalaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Barakatha Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Kolo Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rekakadash, and to water my Father. All right. Well, that was the lesson on vexation, the vexation of our guilt. And I hope you were edified by the lesson. Gave you some good commentary on the portion of it to start out the lesson before I set it up. I want to say Shalaki on and I apologize for the shadow banning, but couldn't do much about that. They're starting to really, Esau Edom is allowed to be puppetized. He's allowing, the Most High is puppetizing Esau Edom to allow him to shadow ban the lessons for the purpose of igniting the understanding that we're soon going to have the famine of the word coming, which all the rest of the brothers are telling you about the attributes of that's happening. If you are getting edified by the lessons that the brothers are bringing out, stick to it, save what you can save, put it in your downloads, because maybe you can play it offline, because soon the word's going to be taken away, and then nothing but the live, in your face fire and cleansing and process and purification process of the word is coming. And that's what you're gonna have to be washed with the word. So you're gonna get cleaned up real good, and isolation tribulation's coming, and it's really short. It's right around the corner. We're getting as ready as we can get, but none of us are going to be completely ready for everything that's happening, because we're getting hit and bombarded with fiery darts from all angles. Everything they hitting you from the domestic side, the economic side, the social side, in terms of your way to communicate with other the Father's creation on this terra firma, this planet. So anyway, just wanted to make sure we brought that out to you in terms of the lesson, and stay tuned for whenever the Most High brings me up to bring another lesson out, and then I'll do that. Going to strive to get out here and do some things out here. The weather's pretty nice as well, but we got a lot of resources that we're working with right now, and we're gathering. That's taking a lot of the time up. The Father has got me doing some things in terms of resources that are being, correlated. We have to correlate some resources here, and the Most High is directing me to have that getting in that direction. So as soon as He lets me get that pretty much covered and under some semblance of some semblance of order and control, I'm gonna get out here and get out, talk to the populace. you know, get out there and do some lessons out there in the world, out there in the freshness of the air. What's happening. But anyway, just wanted to get that out to you and say shalom.